What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Action Sunday. This week's review has been requested by a lot of people, but more often, requested by people that follow me on Facebook. And this one I wanted to get to quite some time ago, and I want to talk about it now. Okay, so the backstory: this was back when I was working at a steakhouse many moons ago, way before the pandemic, and way before I met my wife. Of course, we were talking about movies one day, like some of the big action films, and one guy brought up the movie Blind Fury, because he thought we were talking about a movie called Fury, and I was like, wait, what's this movie? And he's like, check this movie out. It features Rutger Hauer. He plays a blind war veteran, and of course, right away after what he told me, I said, well, now I'm hooked. So many years later, here I am. I finally got a chance to watch this movie. So what can I say about this movie? It's pretty good. I actually found myself really enjoying this, and to my surprise, I was like, I never expect the hero to be a blind war hero turned swordsman who was actually pretty darn good. And Rutger Hauer did a pretty damn good job. And it's a damn shame he's no longer with us, because I would have said to him, damn, how the hell did you pull that off? Just playing a blind guy, because it's so challenging when you can get some of these characters with like some kind of hindrance on their senses, where they're deaf or blind or missing an arm or something like that. But when it comes to someone being blind, I was like really interested in like how they created the character of Nick Parker. And so that's the crux of this story. Is like, so what backstory as we go along in this review is, so Rutger Hauer plays this guy named Nick Parker. So he is actually a war hero. What is told in a flashback is that he lost his vision from a mortar attack while in Nam. All right. And somehow he takes up this interesting practice of trying to use his senses, and of course he learns how to fight using a sword. So it's like him and his longtime friend, they think they're dead kind of thing. It's one of those kind of things, because in one of the flashbacks, they explains that his friend tries to run for cover when a mortar attack hits, and he thinks he's dead. But of course, as you watch this, you realize this friend's a coward. He's not a good friend at all. But of course, as the movie goes on, you suddenly realize, okay, yes, he is. You're trying to root for him, but at the same time, this guy got himself mixed up with the wrong people, which is the other crux of the story. Is like, his friend Frank Devereaux, I'm noticing a trend here, played by Terry O'Quinn, aka Joe White from Hawaii Five-0, yeah. So I kind of marked out a little bit. So somehow his friend gets involved in some really shady business. Somehow he owes money to this gambling mogul in Reno, Nevada, of all places. I'm like, okay, so it's still in Nevada. You get that. So somehow they threaten to kill his family if he doesn't do what he's promised. So somehow Nick, Rutger Hauer's character somehow ends up in the right place at the right time, where like, oh shit, this guy sent some hitmen after his family. His wife is killed, but of course somehow he's able to rescue his son, and so that essentially becomes more of like a cross country adventure to get from Florida to Nevada. There's more to the story if anybody has seen this movie. So I was like, that's pretty unique of like how they did this. But of course, man, I was just blown away by the stunt work, the fight scenes. I really enjoyed it. Okay, it's like one of those very rare, how do I say this, like very American Samurai, but with a very unique twist. I was like, my goodness, this guy makes Kenshi from Mortal Kombat look like I don't know, some other blind character I can't even think of off the top of my head. But you get my point. But man, I really enjoyed it for what it's worth. Rutger Hauer did a fantastic job playing this role. Terry O'Quinn, great work. But the real shocker to my system was seeing Noble Willingham, C.D. Parker from Walker, Texas Ranger, play the villain. Man, that's 2 movies on this Action Sunday review where he's played a villain. Not just this one. He was the villain in The Last Boy Scout, which, my goodness, feels like a lifetime ago. By the way, I still have Friday night. It's a great night for football playing in my head, by the way. But yeah, that was a shock to my system. But another shock to the system was seeing Tex Cobb in this movie. I was like, my goodness, I've seen him in play all these badass, the enforcer characters in all these other movies, and as well as he also does appear in a couple episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger. So, in case you guys never knew, so I'm like, hey, so the Walker, Texas Ranger connection is there. But yeah. Yeah, again, enough said. I can say about the whole casting. The story I really enjoyed, but when it comes to the action sequences, there's a really good sequence where somehow Rutger Hauer's character somehow loses his son in a cornfield. Somehow they're traveling cross country. His son runs into a cornfield. Not his son, I mean, Devereaux's son runs to a cornfield. And of course, also he realizes, oh shit, they're being followed. And like, it's a great sequence. And I was getting vibes of, oh my God, like, it's calm, it's quiet. I was like, kind of turns to a slasher flick. And of course, at the same time, I was thinking, wait a minute, do you think this could have been the inspiration for the Jeepers Creepers franchise? Who knows? Ugh. Just thinking about that makes my skin crawl. But yeah, that was a really good part of the movie. I really enjoyed. The final part of the movie was a little anticlimactic. Kind of gives me vibes of okay, here's the samurai character. It kind of kept it in the vein of the samurai flick, but also kind of a bit of a western. It's almost like okay, now I think they're kind of hand-fisting. It's like okay, he did his job. Now he just rides off into the quote unquote sunset, as we say. But at the same time, you're like, man, what a badass Rutger Hauer was in this movie. And seriously, I gotta give props to everyone. Like, it's a really fine movie. It's not, I wouldn't say it's cliche. It's like, it's one of those very rare movies, like, hey, where you want to see this this hero who's got deficiency, where it's just, like I said, where it's, where he can't see, can't hear, or he's missing a limb. You want to see him succeed. And somehow he really pulls it off. Yeah, not much else I could say. It's as good as a flick as it's gonna get. It might be a very good sleeper hit. I'm surprised this movie didn't make as much at the box office. But seriously, I felt like there was a door or room open to see more. Maybe it could have been a longer cut. Maybe another sequel. Who knows? I would have loved to see Rutger Hauer still kick some ass as this character. Okay, rest in peace, Rutger Hauer. I loved you in Blade Runner. All right, and with that in mind, I'm gonna give Blind Fury. You know what? I'm going to give Blind Fury a 7.5 out of 10. I was going to rate it a little lower because for a couple of reasons. One, I felt like they were trying to hand-fist some more westernized elements, some cliches or tropes that I've seen in our action flicks, like kind of seeing Tex Cobb's character, like, oh, how the hell is this guy trying to get and keep getting away from me? How's he living, kind of thing. I've seen that trope before, as well as some other things I was like, okay, yeah, I've seen that before, but I felt like it was better, if that makes sense, all right? So, yeah, that does it for this week. Give this movie a watch. It is available on Tubi, so, yep, go get a watch, all right? So that does it for this week. Let me know what you think. Thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for some more awesome and exciting videos.